Welcome to the podcast, Kill Complacency. Here we inspire intentional living by motivating others to handle hard better. And here's your host, Marty Hofmann.
So, hey, behind the scenes on these podcasts each and every time is my lovely daughter, Keziah.
Hello.
We wanted to just briefly talk about what you guys are about to hear from Jeremy Dugas. He's a good friend of mine, does a lot of cool things. He really loves people well. He loves Jesus, and was fun to have on. So, Keziah, what were some nuggets you got?
I thought the talk went really, really well. He talked a lot about just being intentional, the importance of community, and just how he loves people and how he's just super intentional in the moment with people. I think probably one of my favorite quotes that he said during the podcast was he basically said, "Don't allow an offense to affect everyone in your future." So don't allow something that someone says in the moment that offends you to affect everyone that will be in your life in the future. And I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah. If you guys will certainly get a lot out of this, you'll get a lot out about a man who lives intentionally. And, a lot of times we're too afraid to get started and do the next thing. But Jeremy's really good at just inspiring people to do it. He really is a very supportive guy and meets people where they are. I'd encourage you to listen to the end. He's got some great advice right at the end, kind of what Keziah was just mentioning. But
and he shares what his favorite books are that have inspired him the most. So you don't want to miss that.
But anyway, enjoy this podcast. So I've got my friend Jeremy Dugas with us today. Jeremy is a lot of things to a lot of different people. Husband, father, friend, investor, realtor, runner or marathon machine.
I don't know about all that, but yeah, I can dabble in a little bit of those things. Yeah.
And his latest thing is he's like a mentor coach to a whole team of people with one of the biggest real estate realties in the world. Are they biggest in the world?
In the world. Mm-hmm. So I just heard a stat. I didn't say statistics. I said stat. So a stat that was shared this past week that one in 4 homes, one in 5 homes is sold by a Keller Williams agent across the world.
And is it 40 years ago they were established?
Mm-hmm.
Roughly?
In the 80s, yeah.
Yep. That's
Good
crazy.
Problem.
So, little short story about you way of introduction. I met you at one of Jacowan's luncheons.
Yeah.
And I perceived you as an investor. And then I said,
I am.
You are. Well, that's what I mean. You're a lot of things to a lot of people. But I perceived you as that. And then I heard that you ran. So I was kind of like, oh.
Who's this guy?
Oh, another runner. That's cool. But then I get home and my son Ezekiel, he's like, oh yeah, Jeremy, him and I do this.
It's called Bold.
Yeah, you guys were doing this thing on Wednesdays together. You were helping him. You were mentoring him. So
yeah. That was crazy. Like small world.
Yeah.
Just colliding. Yeah, that was super fun.
But what I know about you, Jeremy, is that everything you do with intention and purposefully. And I had coffee with you once at Starbucks. That was a crazy story too, because we're sitting there having coffee and then he rolls over and shakes a girl's hand next to him. And she's this model.
Yes.
And he's like, let's take a picture. So Jeremy's always taking pictures with people. And everything he does, he posts, and he's intentional. And so that's why I wanted to have you on here today.
It's so funny that you say that I'm intentional, because I will say this. I'm intentional, but it's spur of the moment. I think most people think that intentional is like you're sitting down and I intentionally going to take a picture, or I'm intentionally going to do these things. But I think in the moment, I'm in this moment, and I'm like, how can I seize this opportunity? How can I make the most of the opportunity that I'm at right now? And to me, that's being intentional.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not, if you thought I am not what I would call the typical intentional type person. I do have a planner and I do have my top threes and things I need to accomplish that day. But I, I'm the most non-intentional person because I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. But in a moment, I'm like, how can I be intentional with this person that's in front of me?
Yeah.
How can I be intentional in this situation to maximize to most of it? So I don't know if that helps. In my way of being intentional, it's just spur of the moment.
Yeah.
How can I seize this opportunity? Because I think so many times we get so busy and we're not seizing the moment. You know, even for me, you might laugh at me, but I'm just old school to bank. Let me ask you this. Do you go to your local bank to deposit checks?
Yeah. Well, or I'll send somebody.
That is the highlight of my day. Most people make fun of me because most people do wires or the app, but I go to the bank. I love to go to the bank and I chit chat with anybody there.
Yeah.
And you never know of like the impact you're making in somebody's life because you could tell they're stressed,
Yeah.
they're frustrated, they're going through something right there. And I'll just do something, just being intentional, but I'm doing something that's spur of the moment that brightens their day or causes them to think, who is this crazy guy? What do you do for a living? I'm like, I'm a real estate agent. And they're like, yep, makes total sense.
So I love going to the bank, and I love also to take my kids to the bank and teach them that experience.
Really? Okay.
But I was there last week. This is really cool. And on the counter, there's like bundles of bills stacked, and they were ones. And I'm like reaching for my phone, right? Like, oh, we're making a video of this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many ones are these? Like, there's 5,000. They had them in bundles of whatever they are, rolled, and then they were stacked in bundles of probably thousands. And they had these bundles. And he's like, please no pictures.
That is hilarious. He's afraid he's going to get robbed or something.
Well, I don't know, but it was cool. So I love going to my bank.
Okay. But I think just,
especially on Fridays when there's cookies.
but here I want to throw this out, and hopefully I'm not, going too deep with this. But I think like being intentional. I think right now, especially in society, we're all about not wanting to get out. I mean, there's apps now. I mean, shoot, if you want food, you just do an app, and people are coming to your house.
Yeah.
There's not this interaction in the marketplace at Walmart and stores, and I guess now I feel like I'm getting old because I feel like that's important into our society, and so there's now people are just going up to a little drive-through at Walmart to get all their groceries and
Yeah.
they go home, and then they just go right into their garage, and there's not this community anymore. And I'm just thinking, what is it going to look like for our kids that their community is going to be social media and that's it, and that's so shallow.
Yeah.
But today it's like, for me, I'm like, I feed off of other people's energy, that I need interaction with people, that we need people in our lives to help grow us, to help not be so complacent in our lives, to spur each other on.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest fear in society, is that we're going to be so isolated that now I know why there's such an uprising in coaches and consultants and these type of things, because it used to be that it was done in groups or, and all these different things in the workplace or, whether in church. And so now that there's more of this isolation, that now people are hiring people just to inspire them, to help them, when back in the good old days, it was just, you had community,
Yeah.
Whether in the marketplace. So I just feel like I need people to help not be complacent. I need people like you in
Yeah.
my life, that I'm seeing the way that you raise your kids, and it's inspiring me of like, man, I've got to step up and be a better father for my kids and not be complacent, and that my kids are getting my leftovers instead of what they should get as a
Yeah.
father, if that makes sense. So
I do think that's a good point, that our culture, as we're getting more tech savvy, especially the kids growing up now that have a phone at age 8, what is the world going to look like when they grew up with it? You and I didn't grow up. How old were you when you got your first cell phone?
I got my first cell phone when I was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
I bought my first home 20. I got married when I was 20 and got my first cell phone.
I was probably 25 and had a track phone, you know,
Yeah.
and you couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
But now I left my phone in Florida in an Uber car.
Oh my gosh.
And luckily, you know, my wife had her phone.
Right.
So I get on the app. There's a whole protocol with, it happens all the time, I guess.
Right.
I get a hold of the guy. He calls me back 30 minutes later. He's like, yeah, I got your phone. Sorry about that. He says, I'll just drop it off at the police station tomorrow. I'm in Miami. Like, what police station? I said, listen, bud, I'll give you $50.
Just
Bring it back.
Right. Right.
And he did. But it's because I'm so dependent on that thing.
Yeah.
So your good point, like, what is our world going to look like as we grow up with this?
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy not to be, because God made us to interact and need each other. And what happens when we never interact with each other? You know, you can print your stamps from your printer. You can get your groceries at home. Deal Dash will bring you food. You know, we're getting to the point. You don't even have to go to work anymore. You can do all work from home, bank from home. So yeah, good point on
just that community. And I think that's what I'm in a new role, and that's a big thing that I'm trying to do in our new role. There's just trying to build community back again, because I feel like community helps spur each other on, helps keep people accountable. And so that's something I'm trying to do in my new role as a team leader at a brokerage, is just trying to create that community once again that used to be in the office years ago. I know when I first got into real estate, in between, I used to cold call for 3 hours from 9 to noon. Well, at every hour or 30 minutes, I would stop and just kind of walk around, just kind of take a break, and just kind of walk around. And I needed those people. So that way I realized, one, I'm not alone, and there's other people that are doing the same thing, and I better get my butt back in and you know, do the things that I know I need to do to be successful. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just trying to get people back into the workplace again, to try to rub off each other, get ideas, count on each other. And so, you know, I love our relationship with you, because I feel like you're texting me, I'm texting you, feeding off of each other. We kind of have the same ways of thinking, same mindset.
Yeah.
And what are some things that we can glean from each other to help each other grow in our mindset, right? In our businesses and in our lives. And so I think that's where we're at, I feel like. And I think that's why I'm seeing a lot of investors doing meetups, doing groups, doing coaching groups. And I'm sure you're seeing that.
That is 100% why we started that, is because we said we need to fight the cultural norm now of staying home and doing a Zoom call or learning on YouTube. And we want to get people together to interact, to connect, because it's not that it's a lost art, but you kind of feel like we need to fight this. We need to combat it.
Yeah. Well, I would say this. I think, you know, the group, like what you're creating, I think a lot of that, it helps crush whether maybe some insecurities, because they feel like they're alone, or maybe when they show up and they see that there's such a good environment to help each other, then they're kind of like, that insecurities kind of come down, be like, oh, these people are learning too.
Yeah.
You know, and those can be intimidating to come to some of those meetups, because there's like, you know, you talk to somebody like yourself, like, and you can get intimidated, like how many people, properties, or doors they have, you know, things like that. And you can be intimidated, but it's like, okay, what's one thing I can learn from these people? So do you mind if I share a crazy story about a meetup?
Let's hear it.
Meetup? So I think there's something special about coming to a meetup like yours, but I think not showing up is not enough. I went to a meetup. I went with a good friend. His name's Justin. And we went to this meetup. It was at a local get-together. And we were walking around. We knew some people, but didn't really know anybody. And I look around. I was like, man, if I don't see anybody I know, I think I'm just going to, you know, head out.
Yeah.
It was just a different crowd, and maybe it was just an off night.
Yeah.
I think there was other stuff going on. And I see this mom and this son, look like an older son, probably, you know, maybe about your kids' age, and as a mom. And they were off in the corner, and I thought to myself, I wonder if they're with this group. I mean, they kind of was sitting next to each other. And I went by and I asked them, I go, are you with this investor group? And they were like, yes. I mean, with little puppy dog eyes and ears, they're like, yes, I'm here. And I was like, well, what are you wanting to gain out of this? And they were like, well, we're hoping to get some connections. And I'm like, no one's going to come to you.
You got to go to them.
You've got to pursue people. And so, you know me, leave it to me, crazy Jeremy. I said, I will create a line for you. Just stand right here. I went and got probably 20 people.
Really?
Created a line. And I said, this is so-and-so. He's an insurance agent. Do a quick spiel. And then I'd push him off to the side. Hey, here's an agent,
And think about how good that was for you, too. Because you were going to leave, and now you had purpose.
Literally.
And now you're asking this guy, hey, I need to introduce you to this lady.
Yes.
What do you do?
Yes. I literally had a line. It was the funniest thing. And so out of that night, they already kind of had an agent in mind. I think it was like a church friend or somebody.
Okay.
But after that night, they were like, you're going to be our agent.
Sold.
So that was on a Tuesday night. Thursday night, I go to a real estate top producer event, some gala thing. And an agent comes up to me. She's kind of more of a luxury type agent. She comes up to me and says, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you. I have an off-market property. Do you have a buyer for it?
Just like that.
Just like that. Got them a home under contract by that Friday. So met them on Tuesday.
Wow.
They met all these amazing people. And Wednesday comes. Thursday, I meet up with my good friend Cindy. We go look at the property Friday, get it under contract that Friday. But there's lessons to be learned from it.
Lots.
There's not enough to just go to one of your events. You have to go with intentionality. I think we're on the subject today about being intentional. And so it's not enough to just go there. You've got to have the courage to speak. So maybe a challenge is I'm going to connect with 5 people and, ask them what's, how can I glean, or what can I learn, or what are you doing today that I can learn from? Because I think most people are not going to come up to you and be like, Marty, I want to grow you today. Seriously, think about it. Like, did anybody come up to you and say, I want to grow you? No. Like, everybody that grew me was because I pursued them. I was intentional with my time. I was like, I want to be with you. I like what you have, and I want to be with you. And so it's not enough just to be, obviously it's great to be there.
You got to go.
Find the meetups, be at the meetups.
But just showing up isn't good enough.
Showing up isn't good enough.
You got to do more.
You've got to be intentional with, okay, tonight, whether it's you sitting in the car and being like, hey, tonight I'm going to connect with 5 people. I'm going to get business cards. I'm going to, whatever that looks like in your scenario. So what would you do if you were going to a new meetup? What would that look like for you?
Well, I think it's kind of what you said. You'd have intention. There's a verse that keeps making everything you're saying keeps reminding me of this verse, and it's in Proverbs. It says, a man who has friends must show himself to be friendly. And that's just it. To have those connections, that's what we all want, is those connections. But you have to do something. And your part isn't just to show up. It's actually to go around and shake hands and be a friend. Be a friend first and whatnot. Now that lady, she struck gold with you.
But here's the second key about it is when you go to those meetups, right? You go with a friend. It's not good enough just to go with a friend, right? Like, you have to leave that friend and go pursue new relationships. I see that sometimes where there's people, I'll go to meetups and I've got your phone number. We can grab coffee anytime.
Yeah.
But who are some new relationships that I need to seize at that time? I'm good friends with Andrew Cross. I talk to him almost every day. So I'm not going to bother him at a meetup.
Sure.
Because he kind of has the same heart as me. It's like, hey, I'm going to go connect with other people in that way. And so, being intentional of hey, we came together, but I'm going to connect with other people and just being intentional about that.
I've gone to conferences before, and I always get way more out of them if I go by myself. Because of that, you'll hide behind your spouse or your friend or whatever when instead of going and putting yourself out there and making those connections.
Yeah, for example, I was just in Vegas at a conference, and so I tried to split up my time. And so there was one night where I just hung out with people that I knew, and they just kind of hung out with the people that they knew the whole entire conference.
Yeah.
Well, me, like, I'm being intentional with coffee at Starbucks. I'm connecting with somebody. It's probably an agent from Connecticut, Park City, Utah, and I created a form. I would text him a form, and it was basically like, hey, what's your name, your phone number, what city, and all these things. So that way, we probably weren't able to cover all that in a quick Starbucks interaction, but I'm like, hey, I want to connect with you. There's something I can learn from you outside of this Starbucks quick interaction. And I think we get so looking at our phone that we don't make the most of where we're at. Mm-hmm.
You do something every week I see you do on Facebook, and that is the word of the week.
The word.
That's intentional, right?
Yeah.
Is that, how long have you been doing that?
Gosh, man, I've changed it up. So I'll even give you some behind the scenes of it. It used to be on Wednesdays.
Okay.
It used to be.
Was it a Wednesday run or just Wednesday?
It was just, it would be a quote. It'd be like Wisdom Wednesday, Word of the Day Wednesday.
Okay.
So it started out back in the Twitter days on Wednesday.
Okay.
I would do a quote. And then it was kind of Facebook and Instagram. So it's morphed over time, but it started out as like a Wednesday thing. And now it's kind of turned into a video and interaction. Now I've kind of done it more on a run. Because who wants to watch me just say something on video? Yeah. So that's good that you've kind of noticed that or picked up on it.
Do you think, and I'm going to pick on the run for a second, do you think, like, when we start pursuing intentionality, don't you believe it grows on itself? Like, you go to the meetup, that was one intentionality. The next intentionality is to meet a friend. And I say it because of the run. I feel like if I get up and run, it sets a tone for my day so much better. And it makes me think, like, you're running, you're like, man, how can I make most out of this?
Yeah.
We're going to do a video.
Totally.
So I think that's something else maybe to discuss. Once you your snowball can go one way toward intentionality, or you can snowball into complacency and a hermit and all these things that we don't want our future self to be that, but we slowly make these decisions one way or the other.
All right, so here's something to think about. We used to teach this in assemblies, but when you don't make a decision at all, you slide into whatever happens. I forget like the lingo that we had for teenagers, but I've seen time and time again where people that don't make decisions, they actually do make a decision. The decision is actually, if you're not doing anything, you're ultimately kind of going backwards.
You are.
So whether typically what can happen is, whether a breakup, whether trauma, whether a loss, whether a job loss, whatever those type of things, there might have been a critical moment where it caused that. And now when decisions happen, when you choose not to make a decision, you choose not to move forward. And so then it just continues to go into complacency to almost to your just Netflix every night before you go to bed. And that is your life.
And you adapt to it more and more and more, and you don't even realize.
And then you really, then you lose yourself. Then people are like, who are you? Like, you almost, and I hate to say this, but it's almost like your personality changes because you used to be this way, but something happened, and then
it's the compound.
Totally a compound thing.
Hey, just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values, and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways which I get sucked in all the time. So If this is beneficial, follow me there, spread the message, share. And if you want to wear a billboard of a message of kill complacency or live intentionally, then check out my merch store in show notes as well. But it's www.mindsetshop.com. Mindset is with an X, so it's MINDXET shop, SHOP.com. Mindsetshop.com. Check it out. Thank you guys so much, and have a great one.
Thank you for listening to Kill Complacency. Follow and share our podcast to change lives and inspire growth.